A very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to see so many people in the audience here. So, very warm welcome from our side at the first day of SPS 2024. My name is Miroslav Kunovjanek. I'm Business Development Manager for Oil and Gas Business.
Sebastian Bumm, nice to meet you. I'm the Business Development Manager for Food and Beverage.
And today, we would like to show you our ATEX certified explosion-proof motors. Therefore, let's talk about our exceptional portfolio. Yeah. But at the beginning of the presentation, there might be someone in the audience who never heard about explosion-proof motors. So why do we need explosion-proof motors? What is explosion-proof motor? The answer is explosion-proof motor is the motor which can safely operate in hazardous areas. And the next question is, what is hazardous area? Hazardous area is the environment where the flammable gases can be presented and can create some risk of explosion. So, hazardous areas, as you can see here on the picture, they are categorized based on the level of risk of explosion, and also to be able to select the proper equipment for the proper explosion zone. So you can see also the picture on right and left side, little bit infographics, how to imagine better what are the zones. So we have 3 zones for gases, 3 zones for dust. So zone 2 or zone 22 for dust. This is the zone where the flammable gases can be presented, but only because of some kind of failure. Then we have the zone 1, zone 21, where the flammable gases can be presented also during the normal operation. And we also have a zone 0 or zone 20, but low voltage motors cannot operate in this zone. And now the answer, because I can see you are all curious and you would like to ask, hey Miroslav, so do you have a solution? Do you have a motors which can operate in these zones? And the answer is yes, of course we have. We have the complete seamless low voltage motors, explosion-proof motor portfolio covering all 4 zones, zone 1, zone 2 for gases, zone 21, zone 22 for dust. Yeah? So the complete portfolio from frame sizes 63 millimeters up to 450 millimeters, power output up to 1000 kilowatt, and efficiency, we have the motors, the part of the portfolio, also in super premium efficiency, IE4. Yeah? Also, our motors for explosion-proof motors can operate with the converter up to 690 volts. So this is the answer, but this is not the last thing I would like to show you today. I would like to talk also today about the specific motor for specific application. Specific application means oil and gas and chemical business, yeah? Because we also have a really specific tailor-made motors for those industries. And the answer, what kind of motors we have, is called Chemstar. So what is the Chemstar? Chemstar is more than 40 years of experience, yeah? We have been producing Chemstar motors for more than 4 decades. 40 years of experience and thousands of the motors with Chemstar were already produced and are in operation all around the world. Yeah, Chemstar is a special sub-brand in the big Innomotics portfolio. But the answer, what is a Chemstar, is very easy. Yeah? In the past, we studied market challenges. Yeah? We studied what are the needs of oil and gas and chemical market, yeah? What do the customer really need from the low voltage explosion-proof motor? We also studied many of the customers' specifications. And at the end, we realized that there are some common basis requirements. So what we did, we accommodated all these common basis requirements under one simple selection, which is called Chemstar. And there is no need anymore to think about, because I can imagine like our customers selecting the motors and think about, oh my God, I don't want to forget anything what is important for the motor. So there is no need to do it anymore. You have one simple selection, one simple option, and you have the proper motor for this oil and gas or chemical industry, which includes everything what this market, what this business really needs. And this is, ladies and gentlemen, this is what makes your selection quite easy, and this is what our customer wants. So, how can you recognize the Chemstar motor? It is written on the nameplate. So if you see Chemstar written on the motor, you can be sure that this is really the motor which is tailor-made for oil and gas or chemical industry. It's very robust, reliable, high quality, high efficient motor which you can really use. Last but not least, I would like to show you this QR code, because we understand that for oil and gas and chemical business, for the big global projects, the availability of the project documentation is really critical. So it's very easy. By scanning of this QR code, you have the direct online access to the motor documentation. Such easy, without any need to install any kind of application or without any kind of registration. Only scanning of the QR code, you have the direct access to the documentation, which is really tailor-made for every single motor. Okay, to be as close as possible, we have two versions of the Chemstar. One is for oil and gas business. Including this, in this option, we have included IOGP, International Association of Oil and Gas Producers. So IOGP is included in this option. Also for chemical industry, we have Chemstar option, which also VIK standardization, especially for German market, is included. So these motors are really, as I said before, robust, high quality. They can operate in very harsh environment. They can also operate in very aggressive atmospheres. Okay, so just looking for the more details, I will not go through the whole list. Yeah, this is the list of what everything is included in this option. So we have option C04. This is a Chemstar for chemical industry. Yeah, I just would like to point out, as I said before, VIK design already included. Also increased air humidity, and last but not least, the documentation package advanced, which means the tailor-made documentation based on the customer needs, including the customer's data sheets. Yeah. Then going to the next slide, you can see similar approach for oil and gas business. For oil and gas business, we have the option C04. So with this option, you will have all this package, all this stuff included in the motor. Yeah, I would like to point out, as you can see at the beginning, there are some common things with the Chemstar for chemical business. Some basic components like screws, sheet metal fan cover, or stainless steel nameplates are already included there. Then also enclosure IP66, very important, for example, for offshore applications. And then again, last but not least, the documentation package projects. Yeah, really tailor-made documentation based on the project needs, based on the customer needs. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is our answer. Chemstar is our answer to the question, what is the proper motor for oil and gas and chemical industry? But this is not the last if you are hungry for more information, because up to now we talk only about in the theoretic level. But I would like to invite Sebastian again, because he prepared for us one very nice example where our explosion-proof motors were used in the real industry, the real industrial application. So Sebastian, stage is yours.
So folks, are you hungry for more? Did you have some lunch already? Yes? So not only some more key verticals which we offer the motors, which you can see from oil and gas. We do also offer industries like water, wastewater, hydrogen, and so on, and food and beverage. And out of that, I brought a user case example of what we call flour example. And guess what? You just have eaten lunch. And lunch is basically connected sometimes with grains, processed grains, which is flour, farine. And from that user case example, I can show you the example of a big customer. We worked together with our OEM supplier and compiled a project with a really big flour production, about 4,000 tons a day. And these applications are typically the same like pump, fans, conveyor belts. And these, as you can see here in that area, processing the grains are in a combustible area. That means explosion-proof motors are required, which are hundreds of motors in these areas, various sizes. And just to rehearsal quite quickly, there is zone 1, which is a combustible dust in a very close area, or the zone 22, which is not likely to occur, but very seldom to occur. In these areas, we had to deliver the motors in the production process from incoming to the outgoing of the flour, and within these areas, the customer requested very reliable motors. As you know, Innomotics is connected with the vision of being reliable motion, reliable motors. And in that area of 300 days, 24 hours production, the motors had been the request of IP65 motors, F2B ratings, and XTB zones. All these motors had then, let's say, an IE rating from IE3 to IE4, saving some energy costs. And I would like just to take out a few processing steps here. First of them is the incoming. Means the grains are coming in, need to be purified, pre-cleaned, means taking out the dust, the stones, the insects, just to clean the incoming raw material, which is important for the later hygienic storage in the warehouses, but it also increases the motor life cycle if this is a grain which is cleaner. The key challenge basically is here on starting machines, sieve sifter, which need a long time reliable motors. And here we had to use a high power factor and a low starting current basically here. All these motors, especially on the conveying systems, range from 220 to 619 volts. Coming then to the next step, which is basically the real cleaning and phasing of conditioning, means controlling the temperature and controlling the humidity, the moisture of the grain basically, needs to be in that stage that it can be stored later on in a safe way. As you can imagine here, temperature, humidity needs a good air ventilation feature of the motors. This is why we could include motors with an increased and improved air ventilation system, means getting the heat transfer out of the machines. Basically, coming from these pre-steps, we come to the main step, which is basically the milling step, means getting from the grain outside of the hull and milling the real grains inside. By doing so, the machine creates basically a uniform temperature, a uniform structure and color, which is then later on different grain sizes once the grains are milled. And after each roller mill, the flour is separated in different qualities. That's the main stage, and as you can imagine, the main stage requires the highest reliability. Reliability is not only in operation, but also in case you need replacement motors. Once they are crashed, basically, you need fast delivery of X motors, which you can imagine is an industry not that easy, and Innomotics, guess what, does offer the lowest delivery times in the industry. So that's one of the key advantages we could definitely offer here. So basically, that's our critical success factors.
Okay. Sebastian, so I think we still have some time left. So can you please summarize for the audience, just in the few words, few sentences, why we were so successful in this project? What kind of value we brought to our customer?
Yes, Miro. Yes, Miro, of course, we can. First, of course, again, it's the energy saving. It's IE3 and IE4. Means saving energy for very reliable motors. Second, basically, it's the quality and uptime, means the quality of reliable motors, quality also in reliable delivery times, fast delivery times. The engineering support we could offer as a first-class technical support in talking to the OEM, in talking to the client. It's a reliable operation, reliable consultancy support. And last but not least, once again, it's about speedy delivery times for ATEX motors, which again is one of the best in the industry. So I think all these factors have been the critical success factors how to win the business.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, this is all from our side. We would like to thank you very much for your attention. It was really a pleasure to see you here. So this is our answer. This is what we call future of reliable motion. If you need more information, our booth is right here on my right side. Yeah, so you can come, you can talk to us, you can talk to our experts. You will receive all information you need to run properly your business. So once again, warm welcome here. You can we can take a photo of you together with our motors if you like. But thank you again and enjoy your day on the fair.
Thank you also from my side.